Macon Milkman Dead III was born to a mother named Ruth Dead. On the day that the North Carolina Mutual Insurance agent, Robert Smith, jumped from atop Mercy Hospital on February 13, 1931, around 3 p.m. The shock of this jump caused Ruth to go into labor, producing Milkman, who was a vital character in the novel of Song of Solomon. Milkman has two sisters, Corinthians and Magdalena called Lena. These are three of the first encounters Milkman has with women, and even these relations aren't that great. Milkman's relationship with Magdalena and Corinthians is basically characterized by that Milkman peed on them, and this is shown by the fact that Milkman is oblivious to his abuse of his sisters. Magdalena even accused him of ordering them and judging them even as a child. An example of Milkman ordering Corinthians around was her relationship with Porter, which provided proof of her status as family property. Because Milkman tried to terminate this relationship, it showed that he is more concerned about his reputation rather than Corinthians' happiness. Milkman may be younger than his sisters, but he still thinks he has the right to command their lives. When Milkman was 17, he met a woman named Hagar, who was 22. This relationship was great at the beginning, as he was chasing her and falling hard for her. This relationship turned out to be Milkman's first sexual relationship. Their sex life then soon ended after the death of Dr. Foster, and the actual relationship began to take a toll after Macon Jr., Milkman's father, hit Ruth, after saying, "I am my father's daughter," tauntingly. Some signs of their dwindling relationship include Hagar waiting for Milkman when he is gone, and begging for attention from him. When their relationship starts to fade away, Milkman begins to treat Hagar as a third beer, as she is just there. Morrison used it as a simile to exploit their dwindling relationship, and I quote, "It wasn't going anywhere, and it was keeping him lazy, like a pampered honey bear who only had to stick out his paw for another scoop, and so had lost the agility of the tree climbers, the bee fighters, but not the recollection of how thrilling the search has been." Their relationship was not going anywhere, and it kept Milkman lazy, somewhat like a spoiled honey bear, who, to get another scoop of honey, had to just reach out, and the relationship lost the spark it once had. As he used to chase Hagar, and then in the middle of the relationship, she allowed him to do what he wanted to her, then at the end, she was left chasing him for love and affection. Later on Christmas, as Milkman went to the store to buy gifts for everyone, Milkman wrote a letter addressed to Hagar with an undisclosed amount of money, breaking it off with her. This left her enraged, and we found her searching for Milkman. Eventually, the fist that had been just sitting in her chest since Christmas released its forefinger like the blade of a skinning knife. Or in other words, Hagar took her skinning knife and lashed out at Milkman, once hitting him in the collarbone, and then, as the blade came to the highest point, and just as Hagar was about to release her fury again, she sat there, stunned, unable to come to stabbing him again. Milkman then laughs at her and says that she may as well take a knife and stab herself in the stomach and pull out her organs. Hagar's love for Milkman still continues, and later on in the story we learn that she dies. Milkman's next relationship is with Circe, who could possibly be a ghost, but we do not know for sure. Circe treats Milkman as a son, and they even hug, which would make no sense as people think she is a ghost. We learn that Circe was a midwife for Macon and Pilate, and the final relationship that we come across is the one with Sweet. This takes place during the second half of Song of Solomon, as we see Milkman wandering about his life aimlessly until the point of him being 31, which leads us to the point of part 2. From all these other relationships, we see Milkman greatly resembles his father's traits: his arrogance, his indifference, his sexist beliefs, and his chauvinistic attitudes towards women. But Milkman wanted to be nothing like his father at all. Milkman was unable to sustain a long, loving, passionate relationship with any woman, the only exception being Sweet, which is after he discovers his spiritual inheritance, but even that sustained loving relationship did not last that long at all.